Hey friends, today I'm keeping things simple and cohesive by using the same colors throughout my project. This technique really helps tie everything together and gives the card a polished and kind of monochromatic look. This is a perfect technique to use when you want to feel intentional and well balanced throughout your card. Now, this card project is also a part of a video hop celebrating the April 2025 release from Altenew. We have a giveaway and the video hop. So, down in the video description, I'm going to link to the next person in the hop. So, be sure to head over and check that out. And then be sure to leave comments along the way to be entered into the giveaway. Now, I'm going to go through what some of the new products that are being released today, and then I'm also going to create a project. So I will provide timestamps down below in the video description if you want to go ahead and skip to that card project. The first thing I wanted to share with you, there is a new set of acrylic markers. I will be honest, I have never used these before, but they do look really fun. So I'm kind of excited to explore the idea of the acrylic markers. Now, in them, they come in this really cool case. I think there's 24 of them in here, and there is this guard on there. You just kind of pull that back, and then you're able to get your markers out. I'm sure you could use these in your card projects. Maybe you have some journals or maybe you do a planner. I think these would be really great for. I'm going to just pop the cap off of one of them and try one out on some scratch paper because I've never actually written with them before. And they do feel really nice in the hand. They kind of have a nice hard tip on them. So they don't feel squishy when you go to write with them. And then I can just close that up. It snaps together and you can fold this up. So it is great for travel purposes. Some of the other new products being released is the Zero Waste Oval Infinity Die. This is really pretty, and I did use that oval in a card project I'm going to share with you a little bit later. We also have antique street lamps. I think these are really cool, and I may not have projects to share with them right now, but I do plan on creating with them in future posts and videos. Next, we have the parchment bouquet. So, if you want to send maybe a Mother's Day card or a get well card, I think that would be really pretty to use with that. Then this is the Magnolia Dreams. This is an embossing folder and also a stencil, so you can use one or the other or both together. All of the stencils are labeled on them in the order that you could do them in. I don't think it matters too much what order you do it in, but it is helpful to have those numbers on there. And this is a three-piece stencil. So it is a coloring stencil, not really a layering stencil. And then, of course, the inspiration guide to get you started. Then we have the Build a Garden set. This is called Through the Tulips. I actually did a blog post on the Altenew blog and my blog featuring this set. I am going to show you the card that I created for it, but this has the stencil, coordinating die. Of course, you have your inspiration guide, and it just is a beautiful tulip set. Really kind of gets you in the mood for spring. Plus, I think it's also really unique that they have that chair set, so kind of like a patio set. Now, when I was creating with it, I did do some extras. I have some of these tulips in a variety of colors. Also, that table and chair set, like I said, that is really unique, I think. And then here's the card project I did. So I have my tulips coming in from that oval window. That's where I used that oval die that I previously shared. And then this brick background that I'll share with you in just a moment. Then we have the Craft Your Life Project Kit. This is arched foliage, and this is a huge arched foliage. Really great to use with their doors. They have a door collection that you can put together. I think this would be really pretty over it. Here is that background that I shared with you, that embossing folder, kind of that brick background goes with the arched foliage set. So you have your stamp, your embossing folder, coordinating die, and then the stencil. Next is the Craft a Flower Daisy Spray. I love daisies. They're one of my favorite flowers. One of them, I have many. And this is a huge, actually, pretty good size display of daisies. Then we have the Stamp and Paint One Happy Bouquet. So if you're into watercoloring, this would be a beautiful set for you. I also think just by ink blending a background and stamping over that blended background with this would be really pretty. Then we have the big mama of the release, and this is the flourishing bouquet. I should have zoomed out because this is a huge, I think it's like 8.5 by 11 set, ginormous a bouquet. Now, I do really love these kind of stamp sets, and there is a coordinating stencil. I know they can be pricey, and I have purchased some of these on my own. This one was gifted by Altenew, but I have purchased other ones on my own because I think they are such a great investment. You can stamp, you can use your coloring stencils, and then you can create 4 cards all at once just by trimming your panel down. So I know they're a little on the pricey side, but I think they're worth it if you want to make just a bunch of cards at once. I am going to show a stencil that's being released. This is the Cascading Elegance. I think there's a few more stencils, so be sure to check out the entire release. And then, of course, we have some new Shimmer Relief Paste colors. These have been such a huge hit. They are fantastic and so gorgeous, easy to apply with a palette knife. And I will be swatching these out for you on screen on black and white cardstock just to give you an idea what these will look like with your crafting projects. If you haven't played with the new Shimmer Relief Paste, I do recommend at least picking up 1 jar to give it a try because they are super, super shimmery. So, this first one is Galactic Skies. I'm just going to take a little bit out of my jar and place that down on the black and the white cardstock. I'm going to show you an up close of this one, and then I'll just go through, swatch the rest of them, and give you an up close of those at the end. But look at all that shimmer. I was actually really surprised how kind of deep it is and also how well it shows up on the black cardstock. Now, there is a new gold in the family. This one is called Mayan Gold. Breathtaking, possibly my new favorite gold. Again, shows up on both the black and the white. Then we have amethyst. So it's kind of a soft purple, a muted purple is, I guess, what I would call it. Then we have more of a light blue, and this one is sea beryl. Not actually sure how to pronounce that. Super pretty, just real nice, light, and frosty looking. Then you have your silver, which is just a great staple to have in your collection. So these can be used with your stencils. You can use them just to create some random backgrounds, or you could also just cover a piece of cardstock, let it dry for quite a bit, but you could die cut that cardstock too to create kind of your own shimmery cardstock. Now I'm going to jump into creating a project and I'm going to be using the Magnolia Dreams. It's the stencil and the embossing folder. I'm starting out with a piece of white cardstock cut to 6 by 6. I have that secured down to my work surface using some repositionable tape, and then I placed the stencil over the top and held that down with the satin masking tape. Now, this is the first layer of the stencil, but I'm going to use multiple colors on it. I started with a large blending brush and iceberg to give me kind of that base layer of the stencil. And then I'm going to come in with a smaller blending brush using Eastern Sky. This is all out of the same ink line, the ink collection. And I'm going to just go in I guess where the bottom of the flower would be, or even the center. I brought in the embossing folder to help kind of guide me because this is only part of the flower, it's only some of the petals. So by using the embossing folder as a guide, I'm able to figure out where the center of the flowers are or what angle the flower is at. Then I came in with ultramarine using a detail blending brush and just kind of really hitting those edges to help give that some depth and dimension because this is just a coloring stencil. We're not layering our image, we're just coloring it. So I removed that first layer of the stencil. I'm coming in with the second layer. Really easy to match that up. And plus, I used that 6 by 6 size of cardstock. So really easy to figure out where that stencil lines up. And I'm going to use that same process I did for the first layer, starting out with the light color, coming in with Eastern Sky, and then really adding that depth using the ultramarine. I could even come in a little bit further. There's one more shade darker in this collection, but I figured this would be enough because as these inks dry, they are going to kind of fade back just a little bit. And once I remove this layer of the stencil, it really almost has a whimsical, wispy feel because I did start with that light blue shade and then added the depth. Now, for our last layer, I am using the Fall Harvest collection for my yellows for the centers. So I started with the small blending brush, did the centers in that light yellow, then came in with pumpkin pie just on one side. And I think I switched to a detail blending brush for that second color. I'm going to wipe away any of that excess color. And then I masked off the centers using the satin masking tape and coming in with the Jade Dreams ink collection, starting with Misty Sage. Again, using a large blending brush to kind of get that all over color. And then coming in with a detail brush, using mossy meadows to help intensify that a little bit. And I think I even step it up just one more notch here with the green opal. Now, even though I took at least 2 to 3 colors to each layer of the stencil, you totally don't have to do that. You could use just one color of ink for each layer if that is what you're comfortable with. I just love adding more dimension to my flowers using the different shades of ink. Now, I still have that repositionable tape on the back of my cardstock. So I am taking the embossing folder. I'm going to line up the design with my embossing folder. And when I close the embossing folder, that repositionable tape is going to stick my cardstock down so it doesn't shift around. I ran that through my die cut machine with the recommended sandwich for a 3D embossing folder. And now it gave me just a little more oomph to my project. You can see all of those flowers that kind of pop up even more. And even though it was really hard, I did trim my panel down. This is, I think it's 3 3/4 by 5.5. So I'm leaving myself a white border on the outer edges. I'm adding liquid glue to the back and I'm attaching that to the front of that A2 size white card panel. For a sentiment, I am using the Timeless Sentiments 2. So, this just wonderful, cheerful sentiment, have a good day. And something I don't do very often is use glitter cardstock or colored glitter. I tend to go for white cardstock, not even black very often, but I decided to pull in those blues from the card project using that blue glitter cardstock. And even though it's out of my comfort zone, I absolutely love how that came out. So if you have a tendency to be like me, where you have your comfort zone of using white cardstock for sentiments, definitely take a step out of that comfort zone and give your colored cardstock some love. Don't forget to drop a comment down below to be entered into the giveaway, and I will have a link to all of my supplies and the items I showed for the release linked in the video description. Thank you all for spending time with me today, and I'll see you again soon.